We put a lot of thought into how we wanted this barn built and how we wanted runouts off of the back of each stall. It was super important to us that the horses had an area where they wouldn't be standing in mud. All the barns I've boarded at in the past, unfortunately, have had a mud problem, and it was just really, really important to me that they had a dry spot to stand if the weather was crappy. And they also didn't need to be locked in their stalls when the weather was bad. So we started with digging holes for the posts. We started with an post hole digger, but unfortunately realized pretty quickly that with the ground that we had, we weren't getting through it. There was a lot of rocks, clay, things of that nature. So the post hole digger just wasn't cutting it. We ended up having to use the backhoe of the tractor, which made the holes way bigger than we needed them to be. And that meant that we had a lot of extra work in filling in those big holes with the dirt that we had dug out. It was a huge project for the two of us to do. And we had a short amount of time that we needed to get it done. So of course it had to be about 100 degrees the weekend that we had to finish it up, and the two of us just were dying. We would work for about 5 minutes, then take a break in front of the fan, get a drink, and then get back at it. Say hi. This is for the archives of our awesomeness. The plan was to put the posts in first and then worry about the ground. We ended up getting fabric off of Amazon, a geotextile type fabric. We put that down in the first 2 runouts. Fortunately, I didn't order enough fabric for all of them because we ended up making the runouts quite a bit larger than we had originally planned. But we decided to just fabric the 2 of them, leave the other ones without fabric just to see if there was a difference. We then put a layer of crushed stone on top of the fabric and then put a layer of stone dust on top of that. Then we went ahead and wet it down and tamped it down. That was a really messy job, but they have held up so well, and the horses really enjoy having the runouts, so they're not completely locked up in their stalls. If the weather's crappy, they can go into their stalls to get out of the bad weather. Of course, we've had a few boards that have gotten broken. Only 2 actually in the last year, so that's not too bad. But the ground itself has really held up really well. It drains really, really well. There is a bit of a slope, so the rain kind of runs off. I can't really tell a difference between where the fabric is and where it isn't. All of them have held up great. Putting these runouts in was one of the best decisions that we have ever made. It has been a full year now, and they have held up great. Even in the winter with all the snow and the crappy weather, they've held up really well. You just have to make sure, obviously, that you pick them out. But we have had 0 mud issues in doing it this way, and I couldn't be more pleased.